Cool. Cool. So you're a friend of Janet. So appreciate you dialing into the show this afternoon.
I'm anxious to hear what you have to say.
Cool. Well, now you put me. Now you have me sweating.
Janet's a great teacher.
Yes, she is. Definitely is. So just hold on tight. Like I said, let some more folks chime in. Sometimes some folks don't like to talk and a little shy, and some like to speak up a little bit more. So we'll get going here in a few minutes. Hello and welcome to Free Marketing Tuesdays. How you doing?
Hi, Michael. It's me, Janet.
Hey, I thought that was your number. We have one of your friends on the line, Miss Debbie from New Jersey.
Debbie, how are you?
Good. How you doing, Janet?
I'm good.
Hello, welcome to Free Marketing Tuesdays. How you doing?
Good. This is Anand.
Yep. Hey, how are you, Anand?
Good. How you doing, Michael?
Can't complain. We we have Miss Debbie and Miss Janet on the line. So, like I said, we normally allow for the first few minutes of the call to let people get settled in and get started at 12:05. So, Anand, where are you from, sir?
I'm from Chicago.
Cool. Are you working in the suburbs, Chicago,
I'm
in
in
the city?
Okay. Yeah, I got my office. I'm with Berkshire Hathaway. So my office is on the beautiful Mag Mile, and I live in one of the neighborhoods. So.
Okay. Yeah, Chicago's like my favorite city that I just couldn't afford to live in.
You and me, man. I'm struggling, but hey, this is why I'm part of the Lab Coats. This is why I'm listening to your show here, right?
Yes.
To get out of that struggle. So.
Absolutely.
But I hear you. It's definitely not cheap.
Absolutely. So, well, cool. So you've been a long time Lab Coater.
Excuse me?
I said you've been a long time member of Lab Coats.
Oh no. How long has it been? 3 months, 4 months?
Okay.
Not that long. Someone told me another. I don't even remember how I joined. I belong to another group. One of Chris Smith's groups, and a broker in there recommended Lab Coats, and it has just been overwhelming. Just too much. Too much.
It's the gift and the curse.
More info, more problems. More info, more problems, I guess. I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot, but I enjoy it.
It is. I always tell people it's like a melting pot, It's the opportunity to learn and see a bunch of different stuff. And, there's a couple of different, the consistent theme is that it's just always different. So.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, it is 12:05, so I'm going to put the call on mute currently, and as always, we normally have more people to just kind of join on, but it is an open dialogue. If you aren't looking at us online, please do. I actually had it up today where you can see my pretty mug, and again, it's an open call, so if anytime you guys want to chime in, if you have a question, just hit *6. As well as I'll be calling out the last 4 digits of phone numbers to get some input, insight, as well as commentary from you guys. So just hold on tight here while I get started. Hello, and welcome to another edition of Free Marketing Tuesdays here on the Real Estate Success Network. I'm your host and marketing trainer, Mo. And today we are going to be talking about networking. And the interesting part about this topic is everyone who's on the call has gotten here via some form of networking, whether online, offline, or a combination of the two. The reason why I wanted to talk about this topic going into 2016 is because as a real estate professional, we're obviously always looking for ways to maximize our lead generation. And networking with some effort and sowing some seeds can be your number one source for generating leads for your real estate business. And so I want to make a quick little special announcement here, but to kind of give you guys just a little bit of background and insight into Mo and who I am. We all kind of grow up thinking about what would our dream job be. And it's funny, I always told people my dream job would be to be a radio host. I always enjoyed having intellectual, stimulating, but yet fun conversations. And I did that in college, and that's just something that I just always enjoyed doing. But I never figured out how I could make it a part of my career. You basically have to work hard, broke as an intern, hoping to be put into the ranks of, a radio personality, because that's where those are the only guys who kind of get paid in the industry. And so I got back into doing real estate. I'm a marketing trainer. That's what I've been doing for my career as an entrepreneur. And I started giving and networking with the Lab Coat agents. And to make a long story short, just yesterday I got off a call and they want me to put together a formal, consistent podcast show for Lab Coats. And so in theory, here I am via networking, have been able to put myself in a position to, in theory, have my dream job. Podcast show is nothing but a radio show online. So that's just a little special announcement that I wanted to make to you guys before we jumped into our session. And also, as you can see here, I got on a T-shirt via a company called Lucid Press, lucidpress.com. Lucid Press is a platform that allows you to make all kinds of creative, neat stuff. If you are with us online, you can see a nice image that I was able to put together via just dragging and dropping. And so Lucid Press enables you to make beautiful designs, just dragging and dropping images. And so check it out, lucidpress.com. And why this is applicable? Well, very simple. I sent this company an email to their support saying, hey, I love your product, I use it, but here are some things that I think you possibly can improve. And lo and behold, they called me. They emailed me first, and then they called me and they said, well, hey, let's get on the phone. And we spent almost 2 hours on the phone talking about how they can improve their product. They sent me some nice stuff. So I am trying to bring them on as a supporter of Lab Coat Nations. And so, guys, I'm telling you, networking works. So before I talk to you about what my thoughts are for keys to successful networking, I want to kind of go around the room and just ask you guys, your thoughts on what the word networking is, because I think by definition, some people just don't understand what the word networking truly means. And so I'm going to start with our longtime caller and who is actually going to be showing us and talking to us about how we can build business network groups within our communities, Miss Janet Nation. Miss Janet, how you doing today?
I'm good, Michael, and yourself?
I'm doing good. Ready to have some fun. I hope you are too.
Yes, I am.
Good. So with this word networking, what does the word networking mean to you?
It's funny. I never really thought about what the word networking meant. But networking, I believe, is trying to connect with like-minded professionals, exchanging ideas, and which could potentially benefit both parties. Absolutely.
I love that definition. I definitely hear the Toastmasters training coming out in your auditory. So I agree with you. It definitely is an opportunity for two people to come together with the hopes of benefiting each other. And, I want to go around the room and continue to ask people what their definition and thoughts are, because I think the reason why a lot of real estate professionals don't understand and don't get the benefits of networking is simply they don't truly understand what it means. So, Janet, we're going to come back to you. We have a 3278. You're on with Mo on Free Marketing Tuesdays. How are you? 3278 out of New York. I'm sorry, 562. All right, we'll continue to go around the room. 9084, you're on with Mo. Want to know what your definition of networking is?
I would say my definition is simply connecting people, interests, and goals to mutually benefit one another.
Absolutely. Why do you think real estate agents just have a hard time on really getting a full grasp on what networking truly means?
I don't know. Let me think about that for a couple minutes.
No problem. No problem. No problem. All right. So let's continue to slide around the room. We have a 6151. What's your definition of networking? Hello, 6151. You want to chime in on the definition of networking? Cool. No problem. So, anyone else, if you want to chime in as we go along here, just hit *6 and I'll be able to bring you in. I'm going to try one more. I got a Ralph. Hey, Ralph, you're on with Mo, Free Marketing Tuesdays. You got a definition of networking for me? All right. So with networking, guys, I think Miss Janet and our other caller put it as eloquently as it could be put. Networking is you bringing value to someone else. And I think a lot of times real estate professionals get networking mixed up, and they think that networking is going out and meeting someone, giving them a business card, and expecting that person to give them business, to call them and say, hey, your business card was wonderful. You look like the best insurance agent in our part of town. All of my clients are now coming to you. You know, what's your phone number and email address and fax number, and I'm going to send all my people your way. That's not what networking is. With networking, if you aren't willing to invest into someone else and to bring value to someone else, it's going to be a fruitless effort. I can tell you that right now. As I mentioned before with lab coats, and me putting together real estate success and really developing content to be your marketing trainer, you know, we got involved with lab coats, and I can be 100% honest with you, we had no intentions on being on this call with you today. My intent was just to contribute towards the goal of what lab coat is, and that was just simply to provide content that's useful and relevant for real estate agents to improve their business today. That was it. And that's the same kind of mentality that you want to have when you're going out to networking events, and also when you are looking to build like a networking mixer like Ms. Janet is going to talk about a little bit later. But before we get into Mo's 3 keys, I want to go around the room a little bit and just see if anyone has any specific questions that they want to have answered on today's call, so we can make sure that this call is not only good but impactful to your business. So I'm going to swing around the room here a little bit, and 3278, you're on Free Marketing Tuesdays. Do you have a particular question that you want to get answered on today's show? All right, 9084, you're on with Mo. Do you have any particular questions you want to make sure you get answered on today's call?
I guess the main thing would be I have several different groups of people that I know. For instance, my son plays football, so I'm part of the Booster Club. So I'd like to know how I could possibly do different mixers to kind of bring together those groups.
Gotcha.
Not within each other, but so that I could benefit from you. I could benefit them and they could benefit me within these different groups.
Absolutely. And so is the booster clubs for your son's football team?
Yes.
Cool.
And then, of course, you know, we always have our vendors that we work with and things like that. But I kind of want to think outside of the box and maybe use some of these ideas for some of these other groups that I'm also part of, my exercise class group, things like that.
Gotcha. Super. That's great input. So we're going to come back. And what's your name?
My name?
Yeah, first name.
Debbie.
Debbie, cool. All right, Debbie. All right, so we're going to swing around the room a little bit here and to see if anyone else has any specific questions. Hey, this is 0989. You're on Free Marketing Tuesdays. I'm your host and marketing trainer, Mo. Do you have a specific question that you want to make sure that we get answered before we delve into the information here? 0989. All right, no problem. Now let's 9084. You have a particular question you want to make sure that we get answered? 9084.
You already did me.
All right. 6151. Particular question you want to make sure you get answered?
Hey, Mo, it's Anand.
Hey, sir.
Hey, I don't know if I have a specific question. I guess what type of events, I mean, if you're not in a position, down the road I want to probably throw mixers, but like, I don't know, for throwing out a thing, we have Eventbrite here in Chicago. There's just so many events. And so maybe for a bigger city, what type of specific events should I go to? And, to your point as far as, how to network there, I wanted some, why I'm on this call is, how to, I don't want to be that sales guy that just goes in there, gets my card. The whole value thing is so big. So just, kind of reading body language, and I'm hoping Janet can have some insight as to how to, be able to read the body language and make sure you're not, the whole kind of coming from contribution is making sure that's done properly. So.
Absolutely. Cool. All right. Great input. Thanks for that, Yvonne. So let's talk about Mo's 3 keys to networking success for 2016. It's very, very simple, guys. I posted a video earlier talking about this. 3 keys: show up, come from a position of giving value, and then simply be consistent. So let's talk about that in the realm of what Avant and Debbie have talked about. And when you are engaging with events, you also have to think strategically about, 1, yes, I can show up, I can be a member of this event or this organization, but 2, you have to think, do you have what they need? And is what they need going to benefit you in your career? So the type of events are going to be business networking events who the professionals that are going to be there are going to be in contact with consumers, right? Obviously, as a business professional going to networking events, and let's say it's some type of strange industry, et cetera, where people aren't involved with everyday consumers who are buying homes, then it wouldn't make sense. But what possibly would make sense is an event that I personally go to and sponsor. It's hosted by Peter Pasternak, and it's called Real Estate Connections. And once a month, business professionals, real estate professionals, realtors, mortgage brokers, insurance guys, also the servicers of the real estate professionals. So you have some HVAC people in there, you have people that provide marketing materials, print, etc. They all come together. It's about 250 to 300 people every month, and they exchange contact information. And now the benefit, and going into Mo's success piece number 2, is you have to be there to give. And what I mean by that is, as a real estate professional, you want to go into the room and you want to connect with people who you possibly can give them business to. And you don't want to overflow them with business, but you want to think of an opportunity where you may be able to throw them a bone or 2 to kind of test out to see if they'll do what they say they'll do. Give you an example. Let's say you work with a lot of first-time home buyers, and whatever that price range is in your part of the country, here in Atlanta, it's about 100, 150, 80 to 150 below. I would make connections with individuals who do HVAC work and all kind of service work, so that when I'm working with those first-time home buyers and they come across homes that may need a little bit of repair, they may be a HUD property, et cetera, they may be getting an FHA 203K loan, then I can then turn around and say, hey, I met you at this networking event. We need this house, based on the inspection, needs a new HVAC. Can you come on by and give us a quote? This thing's as simple as that. Let's take it to another level. Your local insurance agent. The area that I live in, there's a couple of insurance agencies across the street from me. There's a State Farm. There is I think a Liberty Insurance. There's a number of them. Well, once I get my license, I'm going to go in there and simply introduce myself, because obviously when you're selling homes, people need to get insurance. They need to get quotes for insurance. That will be an opportunity for you to give value to those people. And when you give value first, people become amazed, right? They think it's remarkable. Who gives them business without begging for business back? You give them a couple of bones. If they do well, then they'll return that to you. And that goes into my last point, simply about being consistent. So with us, we started at Peter Pasternak event, Real Estate Connections, It's a $250 commitment to have a table there, and we're able to, display our services, etc. But we have remained committed to that event. When we started back in October, we haven't missed. So we're going on 4 months, and what that does is people now know us. People are now recognizing our name, and they are now knowing how to refer business to us. So whatever types of groups you get involved in from a mixture standpoint, you want to make sure that you stay consistent. So 1, show up, get involved. 2, simply make sure that you are trying to give business to other people, looking for opportunities where you can exchange business to them. And then 3, just simply stay committed, stay the course. And what will eventually happen is 6 or 7 months down the line, you'll be on the phone and someone say, yeah, we like what you're doing. We want you to, bring forth our podcast platform for 16, 17,000 real estate agents. Well, what type of impact do you think that has on, my career as a marketing trainer? That's huge, and I'm very appreciative of that. But again, I never led with that being my focus point. I knew that this was a group that needed content, and I just tried to provide what I could. So that being said, guys, I want to talk to you about that. I'm going to open up the lines. We're going to start at 0989. 0989, you're on Free Marketing Tuesdays. What do you think of those 3 keys to networking success?
Okay, and sorry about earlier. I had it on mute.
No
and
problem.
by the time I unmuted it, you were gone. So thank you for coming back to me. So I'm sorry. Could you ask the question again?
Sure. What did you think of the 3 keys to networking success that we just talked about? Showing up, giving, and making sure that you're committed, staying the course.
Well, like the previous caller indicated, I think it's just all in how you do it, and being able to master that. So, and that's why I wanted to join this, because I do have challenges in that area. So, I thought it was important to join you guys today and get some tips on the best way to approach, because it's something that I haven't done. I mean, what I do is whenever I'm out, whether I'm in the grocery store line or whatever, if I strike a conversation or if a conversation comes up, I always will get to me, being a real estate agent. That will always come up. So, I don't have a problem being social, but it's just like you said, when you go to a networking event, which is, it sounds kind of strange because you're there to network, so it seems obvious, but then like the other caller said, how do you do it without coming across like just a straight salesperson, like, hey, I'm in your face, buy from me, So, yeah, I think it's important to know how to do it, how to strategize it, and how to be tactful about it, and that's why I'm here today, to learn some of those steps from you.
So let me tell you this, and from life experience, and this is for everybody. People always say to me, like, you're just a personable person, and I feel like I can tell you my life story, and I tell you why. It's funny, that has just always been my nature, and I know where it started from. It started and this is funny, so if you guys are looking for a joke, hold on. It started way back when I was a young man in high school, and, I get up the courage to ask a young lady for her phone number. And, if I was lucky enough to get it, I didn't want to blow it. So I would take out index cards, and I would write down questions on what to ask a young lady when I got on the phone. And anytime I was talking, if I felt the conversation kind of shifting or going dry, I would get out my index card, because she couldn't see me. You guys can see me now. I would get out my index cards, and I was like, okay, that's my next question. As soon as there's like dead air, I'm going to say, well, what did you do last summer? And then she would just go on. And I was like, oh, okay, that's great. And while she's talking, I'd be looking through my cards like, okay, I'm going to ask her that one next. And so I say that being funny. You want to get to know the other person. Take off the kill, sell, now hat, and just breathe. Take a sip of water, and get to know that other person, and find out. Always look. When I meet someone, I never look at what I don't like, because here's the thing. We all have differences. I always try to find what it is that I can like about that person. It may be as simple as a watch, and we have conversation on where they bought that watch and how they love watches, etc. Or it may be, about their business. And so as you break the ice, you start to learn about the person, and you ask, like, so what type of business are you looking for? Like, who's your ideal customer? What are your challenges now? I'm a real estate agent. I'm out talking to people all the time. If I wanted to give you business or send business your way, what type of questions should I ask people? And they'll open up and they'll tell you. And you just keep that as a mental note. And when the time comes, if they impressed you, and what I mean by impress you, you had that aura and that feeling that they were, trustworthy and the conversation was good.
Yeah.
Then you try them out. It's as simple as that. And then what happens is over time, read a book. Within Lab Coats, we're starting a book club, and it's not on the list for recently, but it's coming up. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And he talks about sharpening your sharpening your axe. But a more important part within the book is he talks about making deposits. And so when you give someone something, you're making deposits, right? Like this is played out with many people that I've recently started working with. I give time, I pick up the phone, I respond to emails, and then they invite their friends, and then you get a bunch of people on a call like this. So if you give, it'll come back. It may not from that person, but that attitude, it'll come back to you.
Absolutely. Thank you for that.
No problem. Any other questions you want me to answer for you real quick?
Well, not really. I just wanted to piggyback off of that and say it basically sounds like you have to be a good listener.
Absolutely.
You have to be a great listener to be able to delve deeper, because it's almost kind of like if you think about journalists and how they interview people, a lot of times their questions feed off of what, has already been said, and you can dig deeper and deeper and deeper and get to the heart of someone. So I like that. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem. Appreciate you. 0798. You're on Free Marketing Tuesday. 0798.
Oh, I think that's me.
Hey, Miss Janet, how are you? What did you think of the 3 keys of success that I mentioned?
It's perfect because, when I do talk about the business mixer, that's what I'm looking for people that are going to show up and have something to give and stay committed. So, yes, it's perfect. That is what is going to make a successful business mixer. And I just want to say to everyone out there, there's it is kind of daunting, the idea of setting one up. When we talk about it, or when I talk about it, you'll see that it's really not as difficult as it appears to be. I think it's just a matter of being yourself. Don't try to be a salesperson. Just be yourself, and you're just going to attract exactly that. And I had put a post on my personal Facebook page, in that same line, just be yourself. It doesn't have to be a whole ton of people. Just be yourself, and it will grow from there organically.
Absolutely. Let's swing around the room. 9084. You're on Free Marketing Tuesdays.
I'm just, as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking one of the consistent things that you're saying is to be consistent. And it brought up basically a scripture verse that I had thought about, which is, counting the cost, meaning that what you decide to be consistent with, you need to do, and you might need to reevaluate or continually reevaluate what you're doing so that you're not spreading yourself too thin either.
Absolutely. I love the fact that you said that, because here's what happens. You have to be consistent, just as Miss Janet stated. And what happens when you can go deeper with people, they get to what? Know, like, and trust. That's like sales 101. When people know, like, and trust you, you can sell them water, wine, a house, whatever, because they trust. And the reason they can trust is because they've seen you in action. And so you do have to stay consistent. Debbie, still there?
Yep, I'm still here.
Cool. Did you have any thoughts or questions? So you had mentioned about events, so and wanting to with your booster club. So let's talk about that for a quick second here, right? You have a booster club that your son is he's a part of the football team. How old is your son?
He's 15.
All right, so
he's a sophomore this year.
Gotcha. So these are, I mean, at 15 years old, these are grown men. I mean, they're big boys. Why not think about doing, some mixer community events or community like cleanup events or something like that? Habitat and a number of other organizations will have a need for groups, organizations to come together, bring their constituents and to give, to do cleanup around the area, to build houses, etc. Well, you could coordinate maybe like an event like that. And obviously, by you being a coordinator, you're going to get all the information, contact information of people, and that could be like your little baby, and you be the go-to. Well, if you're the connector of all these people who are participating in this event, and maybe maybe you guys do something quarterly, or maybe you do something twice a year, but then that would put you as kind of like the center and enable you to now become the connector amongst all these different businesses, et cetera, and individuals within that booster club. That's one thought. What do you think of that? Tell me if you hate it.
No, actually, the boys do some outreaches now.
Okay.
And so I was trying to think of some different outreaches that we can do with the boys. And one of the big things is just fundraising, obviously, for the Booster Club. So that's kind of where my mind has been at. I'm already on as of this year.
I got an idea.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I do that so that I don't lose it. They're fundraising, right? I mean, obviously, Booster Club. Yeah, they're always fundraising. They always want to fundraise. Okay. So that can be your chariot of fire. Hey, every transaction that I do, I'm going to donate $100 to our organization, and I need you guys' help. And the call for help on that is very simple. Obviously, the more transactions you do, the more it's going to benefit the club. And that be something that be a way that you possibly could connect as well as benefit each other. Thoughts on that? Hate it?
I actually had thought about that, but what I was a little bit insecure about was what I was going to do was approach them about any deal that they were anybody they were able to refer to me that came to a closing, that I would give $300 towards the Booster Club. But I didn't know if that would be, one, sort of stepping on toes, and two, self-serving. So I wasn't quite sure how to approach doing it. So I haven't done anything yet.
All right. So one, you're always going to step on toes. So get over that. If you step on the toes, say, excuse me, I'm sorry, God bless you. The second part is attach it as well as to some of the civic events or groups that the Booster Club contributes to. So, let's say out of that $300, we'll say 150 is going to the kids' homeless shelter that we support, and 150 is going to the Booster Club. And the thing is, you don't, I don't know what your involvement is in the club, but you don't try to make it a big deal. You simply, as you are consistently going to the events and you're consistently engaging with people, you just consistently let them know that this is what you're doing. And what will happen is after a while, someone will notice and they'll be like, hey, Debbie's been doing, she donated $2,000 and et cetera, and, then people will start turning to you, and you're not doing it for that, but it will happen, but you just have to go and give. And so don't worry about stepping on toes. Those that you connect with and that like you within the organization, just connect with them and let them know what you're doing.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, cool. All right, let's roll through here. We have 7881. You're on Free Marketing Tuesdays with Mo. How you doing? 78. No? All right, cool. We'll keep. If anybody at any time wants to chime in, just hit *6. Let's see here. I'm going to try that one more time. 7881. You're on Free Marketing Tuesdays with Mo. How you doing? Hey, did you have any questions you want to ask about the 3 keys to networking success? All right, we'll keep moving around the room. So, as we are talking about building business mixers, in a few seconds here, we're going to bring Miss Janet on the phone. I wanted to, again, highlight an event that I was able to do with Peter Pasternak. For those of you who don't know, aren't aware, Peter Pasternak, he was on A&E's Flip This House. He was the lead character on that show, and I believe that show ran for a couple of seasons. And here in Atlanta, 5 years ago, Peter made the decision to start what's called Real Estate Connections. And I talked a little bit about it earlier, but Real Estate Connections is simply a networking event where he has invited business professionals throughout the metro Atlanta area to meet at a central location. And the bar basically hosts, they have the open bar, and you pay for your drinks and or food. And he also has vendor booths that are, around the restaurant or facility. And each month, say, he packs a house with 250 to 300 people. He's been doing it consecutively for 5 years. Now, Mr. Pasternak likes money. He'll let you know. And what he has done is, obviously, he charges people the entry. It's $20. If you're a realtor, you get in free. The professionals that support the industry who are trying to network with realtors, they pay $20. Also, the vendors, I think he has anywhere between 10 to 15 vendor tables. They pay $250, and so that's going up next year to $300. So you can quickly do the math. Now, Peter's not licensed, but that wouldn't prevent you as a licensed real estate agent from starting something like that in your neck of the woods. Putting together a monthly business mixer where you have individuals come together and network around helping each other grow their business. And now I personally have gotten business from this event. Now I'll give you this quick example. Here is, for those of you that are looking on, you won't be able to hear it, but this is just some video footage from the event that I moderated where Peter was a guest speaker. And Peter was telling us about how we can use LinkedIn to gain success in our real estate business. And I'll tell you Peter's 3 keys for using LinkedIn. One, you can use LinkedIn to connect with people within your industry as well as other professionals who may be in contact with with the consumers that you want to be in contact with. So again, insurance agents, mortgage brokers, etc. You can befriend these individuals via LinkedIn to build your business network. And so Peter, by doing that, has built his database from 0 to over 30,000 people, right? He just connected with people via LinkedIn, and many of these individuals he would invite out to coffee. He would invite out to coffee, and during that time when they would get together, he would ask them, what are your current goals within your business? That's point 1. Key number 2 is, what are your challenges for the next 12 months, right? Asking them what is it that they are trying to accomplish within their business over the next 12 months. And then thirdly, he would ask them, how can I help? And so by doing that consistently, he has built this very, very, very nice platform, a networking platform here in Atlanta. And I personally have gotten business from it. I'll tell you how. So this event here, there were some mortgage brokers who attended the event, company named Equity Prime Mortgage. I actually have come to know and like the company very well. And this company started in 2008, and now they're the 75th largest mortgage company in the United States. But they wanted me to come in and to do some podcast / newsletter for them. And so I did that. That went well, and it had 2 other branches in New Jersey and Philadelphia, and said, hey, our guys saw what you did for us, and they want you to do the same thing. So all in all, it probably ended up to being about $4,000 or $5,000 worth of work from one event. And so that's what networking does for your real estate business. When you give and you connect with people and you stay consistent, business will come from it. But guys, you have to remember that you have to give before people are going to give you business. It's just simple law. So with that being said, I want to bring on Ms. Janet Nation so she can talk to us about how she has built a business networking group in her parts of the woods. Ms. Janet, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good, good, good. So it's time to have a little fun. So Ms. Janet, tell our group a little bit about the business networking group that you have facilitated. Tell us about how it started and just kind of give us the quick overview on the history.
Okay, how it started. It was always something I wanted to do, but there's a couple of things that gave me a push. One of the things was I'm part of I follow the Brian Buffini platform, which is working by referrals. And in a course that he has called Peak Producers, one of the things that he wanted us to do was to start a business mixer. So that kind of brought it to the front again for me. He did give some guideline on how to do that, but I was still nervous and wasn't quite sure. It's the idea to approach my peers was kind of very intimidating, like who am I to approach all these people and say let's network and have a business mixer. So it was a little fearful for me. I think what gave me the ultimate push to do it was one day I was visiting a client, and a couple of doors away there was a FSBO, and I called the FSBO, and we had an incredibly great conversation. She wasn't there. We were just speaking on the phone. And, I said to her, I'm thinking about starting a business mixer, and I think that you would be like a great person to join. And she was an interior designer.
Okay.
And she said, yes, go ahead and do it. I definitely want to be there and blah, 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 blah. So that was really gave me the push to like, well, maybe people do want to do this. Maybe, I can go around and ask people to join. So that's how it started 2.5 years ago.
Wow, that's great. So now tell us about where you guys currently are, just in terms of the members of the group, how often. Just tell us about how big is the group now?
The group right now is 13 members, and
wow.
we have, it comes and goes, deviates between 13 to 15 or so. So we currently at 13 members, and we'll have 4 members joining us in January, 4 new members joining us in January.
Wow. And that is one thing that I think you're going to highlight in just a second here. A nice, small, close-knit group like that can be very, very, very powerful. And I love how you guys have managed to keep it that way. So, guys, Miss Janet has not 3. Sometimes that's why we save the best for last. She has 5 keys to building a successful business networker for your real estate business. So, Ms. Janet, go ahead and give us your 5 keys to building a successful business networker for 2016.
Okay, sure. And I just want to tell everyone, you don't have to be caught up in large numbers. Small numbers can be extremely powerful and fruitful. So don't think that you have to do a business mixer where you have 30, 50 people there. You can do equally as well with a strong, powerful group. So the first thing you want to do is consider the venue. Where is it that you want to host the business mixer? And you need to know that because you want to determine the maximum amount of people that you can invite and get their confirmation. The second thing you want to consider is the frequency. How frequent are you going to be hosting the mixers? Are you going to be doing them weekly, bi-weekly, monthly? I wouldn't make it any less frequent than that because it starts to lose its cohesiveness. So just do stretch it out no more than a month. Then you want to think about, time of day. Are you going to hold your mixer in the morning? Are you going to hold it in the evening? Are you going to hold it on a weekday? Are you going to hold it on a weekend day? Do you want to do 1 hour? Do you want to do 2 hours? So you have to decide. All of those things have to be taken into consideration because when you approach people, you need to be able to articulate that to them.
Absolutely.
And 3, the cost. The cost is going to be spread out equally amongst the members. So depending on where you're holding a business mixer, if you're doing it at a diner, then, it will be X amount. I hold my business mixers in my office, so there is no overhead costs, and we collect $30 a quarter, and that for the first 2 years was to buy the breakfast items, because we used to meet every other Saturday from 8 to 10, but now we meet monthly in the evenings from 6:30 to 8:30. So we still collect the same amount of money, and, as you can hear, $30 a quarter is really, and you can't get any cheaper than that. Mm. Right, so once you have decided on the venue, the frequency, and the costs, now you're ready to invite professionals. So that's point number 4. So you want to make sure that there are no duplications. You're only going to invite one person in every craft. And the reason why you want to do that is because when it comes to referrals, you don't want to hurt anyone's feeling by giving a referral to one person and not the other one doing the same thing. So you want to make sure there are no duplications. And also, the reason why also the frequency is important, because when you go out and you invite these individuals, you want to get their commitment. This is not a one-shot deal, and you said it perfectly, Michael, when you talked about showing up and giving. It's not a one-shot deal. So when you look for who you're inviting, it's important that you get their commitment for the frequency, because that's the only way the business mixer is going to be successful, is if everyone is committed. So who do you invite to the mixer? The obvious people as real estate professionals who we work with, a loan officer, an attorney, a title rep, a home inspector, the office people. Then you might want to look at some services that you use, maybe your landscaper or your insurance rep or you're an accountant. You also want to maybe look around the community and see who's out there. Maybe you go into their store or use their services a lot. You can, consider approaching those people. And last but not least are your clients. You may have clients that run a small business, and you might want to invite those people. The people that you invite is going to be key. So you want to make sure that they are committed. You want to make sure that they are like-minded. And that's one of the things, that the group had told me when I first started the Business Mixer, that they loved. I was a common denominator. Nobody knew each other pretty much. I was a common denominator, and they all told me individually that they really enjoyed my selection. So you really want to make sure you pick like-minded individuals. A radical will destroy the group. So just make sure it's cohesive and everyone's, somewhat on the same page. So after you have, so you're going to pick your professionals, and now you have to consider the agenda. The agenda is going to be just as important as the professionals that you pick. So there are business mixers where what they do is, they get together, they're at a venue, they put on a badge and they mingle. Personally, that's not my style. I like things to be very structured. So with my business mixer, there is an agenda that everyone gets a couple of days before, so they know what the discussion is going to be. Actually, they knew from the previous meeting what the discussion is going to be, because it's always a continuation. And so I put together an agenda that, I allow people to come in, then there's the program, and at the end we have an open discussion. When you do it this way, everyone has an opportunity. No, everyone speaks.
Mm-hmm.
No one's sitting down there quiet. Everyone speaks, and everyone is heard by the entire group. And one thing that has developed from my business mixer, originally it was for networking, but it has become so much more. It's been 2.5 years now consistently. It's become so much more. We now support each other. We educate. We train. We've actually become like one big family and just a wonderful resource for each other and for our respective clients.
Wow, that is awesome. So, Ms. Janet, the proof is always in the pudding. It sounds like a great time, and I'm sure that the food that's shared is delicious. But
it is.
I want to hear at least one or two examples of business that you've gotten from all of this effort.
From me personally. All right.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, I got an opportunity to be the exclusive listing agent for a brand new condominium development.
Wow.
So that was I'm still selling the units. I have 2 left. And that was a wonderful experience for me. You know, just the idea that,
mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not something that I ever dreamt I would have an opportunity to do. And so that was one of the things, one of the benefits this year that I got from the group.
Wow.
And also I would like to say my coach, I got the coach from my group. He was coached by somebody else,
mm-hmm.
One of the other members, and he has been a wonderful asset to me personally, helping me to change the way that I think
mm-hmm.
and I, connect with others, which has ultimately also led to, money. Because at the end of the day, what it's all about, money.
There you go. So, wow, that was an awesome example. Excellent list. And just to recap for everybody, venue, anywhere from the home to outside location, just get started. Wouldn't you agree with that, Ms. Janet?
Just get started.
Yeah, absolutely. Monthly, in terms of frequency, monthly, I think consensus-wise, is probably going to be your best bet, as Ms. Janet talked about. Peter's event has been very, very successful over several years, monthly, same as with Ms. Janet. Now, the one thing that you guys do want to make sure, again, it goes back to that consistency. So if you do decide to get a business mixer, and I even recommend doing something as simple as starting it at your home or possibly partnering up with a mortgage broker, you got to stay consistent. So unless there's something major that happens, it's got to happen. If the house not clean and you have it at your house, close the door, put curtains up, and tell people, no, you can't put your coats in there this time, over there, but stay consistent. Costs, as Ms. Janet talks about, your group can either be a money maker like Peter's, or you can charge just enough to cover the expenses of food. Now, here's a great thought, right? If you guys have a local restaurant in your area and all of you guys are sales professionals, why not ask that restaurant to host your dinner? And obviously you guys look to push people back to them in terms of recommendations. So that's just a quick one from Mo. And lastly, invite professionals. Obviously you don't want knuckleheads in your group, because like Ms. Janet said, that will kill the energy as well as the pristine of the group. And that's one thing I will say about Peter's group. Sometimes you go to these networking events and I'll be honest, it seems like, a bunch of, rock salesmen. I didn't want to say door to door or whatever, just guys who they just don't have class. And always make sure that you have people of high value at your groups. And then agenda, you want to make sure that you stay consistent and that you make sure you value people's time. You want to make sure when people attend, they want to get value from it. So, Ms. Janet, I'm sure we got a couple people that want to pick your brain. I'm going to go around the room and see if anyone has any questions. 0989, I believe that's Mr. Debbie. Hello, 0989, still there?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, this is Michelle, actually.
I'm sorry. So, with what Ms. Janet talked about with the business mixer, did you have any questions or comments?
Yes, I do, and those were some great tips. I really appreciate her giving those tips to us today. I have a question about agenda. What would be some examples of agendas for business mixers that she's used in the past, or that you could think of that would be a good reason to bring people together?
Well, my agenda changes every single month, so sometimes there's a theme. In the beginning, you always want to go around the table and ask people, what they've been up to for the past month. So that's definitely a conversation point. It also allows you to get to know them better and also get to know their craft better. And we also talk about referrals and networking amongst ourselves. So that's another conversation piece also. So each month we'll have a different theme. Because we're towards the end of we're at the end of the year now, we have been focusing a lot on business plans and goal setting and asking members what their challenges are, because we all have challenges, and we would all chime in and give advice. And sometimes that the advice that is given can also help other members of the group. We've done book clubs. I mean, every subject in the sun really we've just talked about.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hello? Michael?
They can't hear me?
Hi, Katrina. Jack Barry. How are you? I'm doing good. Is Katie around?
Can you imagine if this was on radio? Oh, this is what I just said. It's like, okay, this is a guy from Selling Home Realty. He had something interesting to say.